The fluorescent lights of Sterling Industries hummed their familiar tune, as 12-year-old Marcus wiped his sweaty palms on his father's oversized janitor uniform. The navy blue shirt hung loose on his small frame, the sleeves rolled up multiple times, and the name tag reading Robert Chen seemed to mock his presence. His hands trembled as he gripped the industrial mop bucket, the weight of responsibility pressing down on his narrow shoulders like a lead blanket. "You can do this," he whispered to himself, the same words his father had gasped between violent coughing fits just hours before. "Just for tonight, son. Just until I can get back on my feet." But Marcus knew it wasn't just for tonight. The medical bills were piling up like autumn leaves, and his father's pneumonia had worsened to the point where even standing sent him into dizzy spells. Someone had to work. Someone had to keep the lights on in their cramped one-bedroom apartment, and someone had to make sure his little sister Emma had food for breakfast. At 12 years old, Marcus had become that someone. The executive floors of Sterling Industries were a world away from anything Marcus had ever experienced. Mahogany panels gleamed under crystal chandeliers, and the carpet felt like walking on clouds compared to the threadbare rugs at home. Oil paintings of distinguished men in expensive suits gazed down at him with what seemed like disapproval, as if they could sense he didn't belong in their pristine domain. Marcus had been cleaning for 3 hours when he heard the elevator ding at 11:47 p.m. His heart hammered against his ribs. No one was supposed to be here this late. His father had specifically told him the executive floor would be empty, that he could take his time without worrying about being discovered. The sound of expensive leather shoes clicked against marble. As someone approached, Marcus froze, clutching his mop like a lifeline, knowing that if he was caught, it wouldn't just mean losing his father's job. It could mean serious trouble for both of them. "Hello." The voice was deep, authoritative, but not unkind. "Is someone there?" Marcus's breath caught in his throat. He recognized that voice from the company newsletters his father sometimes brought home. It was James Sterling himself, the CEO of the entire company, the man whose face graced the lobby portrait, whose signature appeared on every major company decision, whose word could make or break thousands of employees slowly. Marcus stepped out from behind the mahogany desk where he'd been hiding. The mop bucket squeaked softly as he pulled it with him, the sound amplifying in the silence like a gunshot. James Sterling stood in the doorway of his corner office, still wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit despite the late hour. He was younger than Marcus had expected, maybe in his 40s, with kind eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "You're not Robert," Sterling said finally, his voice more curious than angry. Marcus's mouth went dry. He opened it to speak, but only a croak emerged. He cleared his throat and tried again. "No, sir. I'm his son, Marcus, his son." Sterling's eyebrows rose. "And where exactly is Robert tonight?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Marcus knew he could lie, make up some excuse about his father being busy elsewhere in the building. But something about Sterling's direct gaze made deception impossible. "He's sick, sir," Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Real sick, pneumonia. Doctor says he needs bed rest, but we can't." He stopped, realizing he was about to reveal far more than he intended. "Can't what, Marcus?" "Can't afford for him to miss work," Marcus finished, the words tumbling out in a rush. "My little sister, she's only 7, and my mom, she's been gone since Emma was born. It's just us, and the medical bills." He trailed off, horrified by his own honesty. Sterling studied him for a long moment. "So you decided to come in his place?" "Yes, sir." Marcus straightened his shoulders, trying to look more capable than he felt. "I know how to clean. Dad taught me. I can do the work, I promise. Please don't fire him, please." The desperation in his own voice embarrassed Marcus, but he couldn't take it back now. He watched Sterling's face, searching for any sign of what the man might be thinking. "How old are you, Marcus?" 12, sir. "And you came here alone, at night?" "I took 3 buses," Marcus said, as if the journey somehow proved his dedication. "I've been here since 8:30. I finished most of the floor already." Sterling walked slowly around his office, hands clasped behind his back. Marcus noticed family photos on the massive desk, a beautiful woman and 2 children, a boy and a girl who looked close to Marcus's age. The boy was wearing a soccer uniform, grinning widely, while the girl held a violin with obvious pride. "Tell me about your father's work here," Sterling said, settling into his leather chair. "He's been here for 5 years," Marcus said, grateful for familiar territory. He always says this building is like a palace, and it's his job to keep the palace beautiful. He comes in every night at 9 and works until 6 in the morning. He cleans all 15 floors, waters the plants, makes sure everything is perfect for when everyone comes to work. And he's good at his job. The best, Marcus said with fierce pride. He knows every corner of this place. He even talks to the night security guards about their families, remembers their birthdays. Mr. Patterson in security always says Dad makes the worst night shifts bearable. Sterling nodded slowly. And what about school? Shouldn't you be worried about homework instead of mopping floors? Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks. I do my homework during Dad's breaks. I bring my books with me. I'm good at math and reading. My teacher says I'm advanced for my grade. I'm sure you are. Sterling stood up and walked to his window, gazing out at the city lights below. Marcus, what you've done tonight, coming here to help your family, it shows character, but it also shows me that something is seriously wrong. Panic shot through Marcus like ice water. Please, Mr. Sterling, I can work harder. I can. No. Sterling turned back to him, but his expression wasn't angry. What I mean is that no 12-year-old should have to choose between his childhood and his family's survival. That's not right. Marcus didn't know how to respond to that. In his world, everyone made impossible choices every day. His neighbors worked double shifts while their kids came home to empty apartments. Single mothers chose between groceries and rent. Families shared bedrooms because it was that or homelessness. The idea that life could be different seemed as foreign as flying to the moon, sir. Marcus said carefully. I know you probably have to follow rules about who can work here. I understand if you have to fire Dad. But could you maybe wait until he's better, just a few more days? Sterling sat back down and leaned forward, elbowing on his desk. Marcus, I want you to tell me something, and I want you to be completely honest. What does your family need? Not just tonight, not just this week, but really need. The question was so unexpected that Marcus almost laughed. When was the last time anyone had asked what his family needed? Usually, the question was what they could do without, what they could sacrifice, what they could stretch further. Everything. He said simply, Dad needs medicine and time to get better. Emma needs new school shoes. Hers have holes in them. We need groceries that aren't just ramen and canned soup. We need. He paused, almost afraid to voice the biggest need of all. We need Dad to not have to work nights anymore so he can help Emma with her homework and make sure she's safe when I have to stay late for school activities. What about you? What do you need, Marcus? The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. When was the last time someone had asked what he needed? He'd become so focused on taking care of everyone else that his own wants had been buried deep. I want to join the robotics club at school, he said quietly, and maybe take guitar lessons someday. But mostly I just want Dad to not look so tired all the time. Sterling was quiet for a long moment, and Marcus began to worry he'd said too much. But when the CEO spoke again, his voice was gentle. Marcus, I'm going to tell you a story. When I was 15, my father lost his job at the steel mill. We lost our house. Had to move in with my grandmother. I watched my parents struggle, watched my mother cry when she thought we kids weren't looking. I swore that if I ever had the power to help families like mine, I would. Marcus listened intently, trying to imagine this powerful man as a struggling teenager. I built this company with that promise in mind, Sterling continued. But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of the individual stories. I got caught up in profit margins and quarterly reports. I forgot about people like your father, who keep this place running while everyone else is asleep. Sterling stood up and walked around his desk, stopping in front of Marcus. You've reminded me tonight of something important. Success isn't just about the numbers at the end of the year. It's about the families behind every employee ID badge. Sir, Marcus wasn't sure where this was heading, but something in Sterling's tone made hope flutter in his chest like a trapped bird. I'm making some changes, starting tomorrow. First, your father is getting a promotion. Sterling Industries needs a building operations manager, someone who knows every corner of this place, who understands what it takes to keep things running smoothly. The position comes with a significant salary increase, full health insurance, and day hours. Marcus felt his knees go weak. Sir, I don't. Are you serious?